The illusion of legal authority and the power of private contract, deconstructing the commercial code and Second Amendment interpretations. What if everything you thought was law was actually just a contract? Today, we uncover the hidden language of authority, how commercial codes override constitutional rights, and how private agreements hold more power than you've been told. Buckle up, you're about to discover the illusion of legal authority and how to reclaim your contractual sovereignty. 1. Legal semantics, the difference between arms and firearms. The foundational right under the Second Amendment guarantees the right to bear arms, not firearms. This linguistic deviation has been exploited in modern commercial regulation. Statutes and building codes use the term firearm exclusively, thereby excluding constitutional language from the regulatory landscape. As such, the phrase arms has all but disappeared from commercial signage, legal disclaimers, and statutory notices. This omission is not semantic oversight. It reflects a jurisdictional construct, dividing commercial law from constitutional law. Footnote: the use of firearms over arms demarcates the shift from constitutional authority to regulatory commercial code. 2. The nature of commercial contracts and the presumption of consent. Entering any commercial establishment constitutes entering into an implied contract. Window notices referencing specific statutes, such as those regulating the open or concealed carry of weapons, are preemptive contract terms. Once an individual enters, they are presumed to have accepted those terms. This commercial construct, while not common knowledge, governs virtually all retail interactions. Even attorneys fail to grasp that consent to these rules is presumed by mere entry, not by explicit agreement. Footnote: consent to statutory weapon restrictions is presumed through entry, a principle rarely understood outside commercial law. 3. Arms versus firearms in U.S. Code and the role of 15 U.S.C. Section 1. Under 15 U.S.C. Section 1, any attempt to obstruct lawful commercial activity is subject to fines of up to $100 million for corporations and $10 million for individuals. If one asserts that carrying an arm, not a firearm, is part of a lawful commercial act, any refusal or obstruction by a private business could be construed as restraint of trade. Thus, the individual's use of non-statutory language, i.e., arm instead of firearm, may place their conduct outside regulatory scope and within the domain of common law or constitutional contract rights. Footnote: 15 U.S.C. Section 1 allows legal redress when commercial conduct, such as carrying an arm, is obstructed. 4. Constructive notice and assumption in law. If a law enforcement officer, prosecutor, or judge assumes that you are in possession of a firearm, and you do not rebut that presumption, the legal system will proceed on the basis of that assumption. The burden of correction rests with the accused. This principle is universal across all legal interpretation, from firearm possession to tax status and citizenship. Silence or acquiescence transforms presumption into legal fact. Footnote: legal assumptions become binding unless they are promptly and properly rebutted. 5. Attorney at law versus attorney in fact, who really represents you. There are two types of legal agents: the attorney at law licensed by the BAR and the attorney in fact authorized by private power of attorney. The latter preserves individual autonomy, while the former designates the client as an infant or incompetent person under the law. BR attorneys present or represent the client and assume total control of the legal person, effectively stripping the client of all in-court rights. In contrast, an attorney in fact is bound to the terms of a private contract and operates in fiduciary capacity. Footnote: attorney in fact status preserves personal rights through private contract. BR attorneys extinguish those rights by representation. 6. Common law and contractual sovereignty. Under common law, contracts are superior to statutory law unless they violate public policy. The Ninth Amendment, in conjunction with common law, establishes that rights not enumerated remain with the people. Thus, individuals may create their own rights via private contract, provided such rights do not cause harm, fraud, or disturbance. The right to bear arms, absent statutory restriction, is one such retained right. When combined with power of attorney instruments, this sovereignty becomes enforceable. Footnote: private contracts can lawfully establish rights that statutes fail to enumerate, including self-defense. 7. Jurisdiction, appearance, and the illusion of consent. Appearing in court with a BAR attorney constitutes an implicit waiver of jurisdictional objections. The act of representation signifies that the client is incapable of self-representation, defaulting legal control to the state. Only by acting in propria persona or through attorney-in-fact relationships can one retain full rights. The illusion of consent, reinforced by courtroom ritual and professional attire, is a strategic device to obscure jurisdictional transfer. Footnote: legal appearance with a bar attorney forfeits jurisdictional challenges. Self-representation preserves standing.